How's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm going to really quickly show you guys how to configure and how to make add-ons for the night vision goggles mod. This isn't a showcase video, so if you guys want to see, all the cool stuff that's in the mod and how to use it, etc., um, we'll have another video for that. Um, there is a requirement on knowing how to use mod loader. If you don't already know how to use it, please go ahead and go watch that video and figure that stuff out. But other than that, once you've already done that, or if you already know how to do mod loader stuff, then let's get right into it. So first things first is you obviously want to install the mod, add it to mod loader, and then load into the mod loader v1 layer so that it generates all the files. But once it's generated the files, you will see here we have two files inside. Close this. Sorry. So here we have two files inside of the night vision goggles folder. Um, After you've loaded into mod loader v1, these two files will be generated on the host computer, that being the client. If you're doing that being sorry, the files will generate wherever the authority is at. So if you're doing this on a dedicated server, these files would be on the dedicated server. If you're doing Fireteam co-op, these would be on the host PC, and if you're doing this in standalone or local play, then these would be on your PC. um so yeah, here we have the NVG config and then the NVG models config. So starting off with NVG config, um this is all team config. Basically the team ID or the faction ID and what NVGs they have available to them. And that's literally it. That's all this file does. Just you can add in your team ID and what NVGs they have available to them. Now, one thing to note is you can't do sub faction specific at the moment. Sub faction specific being, like, for instance, maybe you want Special Forces INS to have night vision, but not the entire INS faction. Unfortunately, that is currently not possible. Um, so it'll just be the entire faction will have access to whatever NVGs you specify in their category. Now, that's team config. Now we're moving on to NVG models config, and there's a whole lot here, but very simply put, the mod will attempt to find this. So if you do Control C real quick, it'll attempt to find this name inside of the NVG models file. So if I do Control F and then I paste it, it'll find this exact line. And just going down the list really quick as to what it does, it will get the material ref. So this is obviously the actual post-process material that the player will see. Um, and each model can support multiple refs if you'd like. It can also just be a single one. It doesn't really matter. Maybe you want, a new model that has basic night vision and then it has thermals as well. You can do that by simply inserting the post-process materials into this string array in material ref. Then we have the transition time that basically just is the time between the screen being fully visible, fading to black, and then coming back to fully visible. So that's basically the transition of you taking off the NVG. That's the entire full screen, black screen, full screen. That entire time. That's the transition time. And then we have the mesh reference. This is the actual model itself that attaches to the player head. The attach point is, I think it was head 01. I think it was BIP head 01 or something like that. That's the attach point, and we'll get to here in a sec the actual transformation. But yeah, so this is the skeletal mesh that will be applied. It does have to be a skeletal mesh. Unfortunately, we could probably look into making it into a static mesh as well for those of you who don't have animation instances or animation blueprints. But for the time being, it does have to be a skeletal mesh, unfortunately. And then next we have the animation instance. Again, this is for the skeletal mesh, so that if you have, for instance, a model and a goggle model that you want to be able to move up and down, then you would do this via the animation instance. Just make that and then add that here. We'll go over how to communicate between our mod and your animation instance here in a moment. But yeah, so this is just the animation instance. Oh, right. So for animation instance, you have to make sure that there's underscore C at the end of it. Otherwise, it will not load. This needs to be a class. And then moving on to transform, this is basically the X, Y, and Z local location, um, starting from the head O1 bone. And then there's also the rotation you could do. Now, normally when you copy the location and rotation from the editor, it'll copy it as XYZ for the location, but then for the rotation, it'll be pitch, yaw, and roll. That's completely fine if you want to just paste that in. Um, it'll still work just fine. You could also replace it to, as we have here, P, Y, and R. That's completely fine. Just make sure that your rotation is in the correct order and you don't accidentally copy the roll stuff to like the pitch or the yaw, because then it will be kind of fucked up. But yeah, so that's the config. That's all, everything the config does and how it sets up. Um, one thing you could do if you're like a server owner is maybe you don't want people to use the PVS7 green phosphor, but you don't want to edit every single line in the NVG config or the team config. What you could honestly do is just do like underscore and then type in whatever. Because it has to be an exact match, it won't find the PVS7 green phosphor, and it won't load it. So that's the config. That's everything you need to know about the config and how it works. Now moving on to making add-ons for the mod. It's really simple and it's really straightforward. So I'm going to be using the night vision goggles stuff as an example. We're just going to go into meshes real quick. So let's say you made yourself a new mesh. Here you have it. You have the skeletal ref, your NMBP. You don't need to download anything in order to have our mod support your stuff. All you need to do is right click. You're going to go to copy object path. You're going to copy that and post that on your mod webpage, and that's it. You're gonna do the same thing for the NMBP. Just copy object path. Just remember to add underscore C at the end of the animation blueprint because it does need to be a class. But that's it. Just you make a new model. You can post it on Steam, and then just copy the object references, and then people will do the whole config setup that we talked about earlier, to bring them into to their matches basically. And the same thing applies for whatever materials you may have. I'm just gonna go here. So let's say you made a new material. You're just gonna copy it. You're gonna do copy object path, and then paste that on your mod page. So yeah, just it's that simple. There's no references. You don't need to download anything to make it compatible. Just simply make your material, make your model, um, upload it to Steam. Make sure you copy the object path and then paste that on the description of the Steam page, and that's it. That's all you need to do. That's literally the whole process to make add-ons for the night vision goggles mod. Now, obviously, it would require the server owners or hosts or whatever to copy that copied object path into their config, but it's much easier on you, the modder, to do all this stuff. But yeah, this also means that any other mod can just simply grab your materials or models and load them into their own stuff. Obviously, they would need to download your mod in order to use them, but it ensures compatibility with all mods across, you know, the next few years. All right. So if our mod, the night vision goggle mod, suddenly disappears, you don't need to go and remove all the references and all that stuff. You just make sure your mod is up to date, and then others can use it. That's about it. And then next we have the animation blueprint stuff that we talked about and how to make that compatible. Now that does require not a hard reference but a soft reference, and it's really simple, really easy. We go to meshes. Let's go use this one for instance. So let's go ahead and load it up. Where is it? It's Event Graph. Okay, so For your animation blueprint, here we're using the 1PN 138 as an example. You will need this code in order to make your animation blueprints uh, communicate with our components. So our component will communicate the status of the NVG, whether it's on or off, and then that way your animation blueprint can move the model up or down accordingly. So we're going to have this class path here as a string. We'll post this on the mod page. I think it should already be posted. We'll post this up for you guys. But yeah, so you're just gonna copy and paste this. You're going to do to soft class reference. You're gonna load asset class blocking. This is on event blueprint initialize animation. Yeah, so make soft class path and then to soft class reference, load it, cast it to an actor component because that's what this is. It's an actor component. And then you're gonna do try get pawn owner, get component by class being what we just loaded, and you're gonna save that to an actor component. Um, Literally just a vanilla actor component that we have here. As you can see, it's just a type actor component. So just save that as a vanilla actor component, and then on event blueprint update animation, which I think is on tick or something like that. You're gonna get the blueprint owner, make sure it's valid, and obviously make sure your comp is valid, and then you're gonna get your component tags from the actor comp, and then you're gonna look for NVG underscore on. If it contains this, then that means we are enabled. If it doesn't contain this, then that means we are disabled, and then you can update your NVGs accordingly. But that's it. That's how to communicate between our mod and your animation blueprints. And as I said, there's no hard references. You don't need to download anything. And if we ever disappear and somebody else makes, a follow-up mod, a legacy mod or whatever, um, then you would just copy this. You would just paste whatever new component they made, and your stuff is good. That's it. You retain compatibility with the new mod. Um, and that's about it. That's how to make the entire system work. Um, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, feel free to let us know in the Koth Discord. I'll put that up here on screen. You can also message me directly on Discord. It's literally just Death Ripper. But yeah, happy modding, guys. See you guys.